Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for graphic novels I have recently read through. Now, I just want to point out something, a lot of these graphic novels have sort of like carried over from last year into this year, and I will rate the series of what I enjoyed. And of course it will be out of 10 and how much I enjoyed it. So starting off with this left hand side, we've got two Young Justice titles. Both are actually connected to the animated series, but one is connected directly to the comic series. So the first two that you see up top, I quite enjoyed, and I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10. They have their fair share of DC characters. Continuing more so to the left hand side, we've got the Ballad of Sang. The first part of this trade was alright, but it did actually slip towards the end. Another thing too that I felt the story lacked was we really didn't see any flashbacks as to seeing Sang being taught anything in regards to his abilities. To which I'm going to give the story a 5.5 out of 10. Now, jumping into some Harbinger, to which I'll rate with the rest of the Harbinger, because I've got some of the older as well as some of the newer titles of the Harbinger through Valiant. So, for this one alone, we got to learn about Peter Stanchek, which is another Valiant character that I do enjoy, along with these additional Harbinger titles. And also, you got to see Faye, to which many people get to see her character in like other Valiant, including her own. But I felt that I enjoyed the character of Faith a little bit more in this than her own title, of what I've actually seen of her title. And she can act like a bit of a bitch sometimes, but I like it about that character. Apart from that, you do get to see not only Peter Stanchek, but also other characters have superpowers, and it's very much like Valiant's universe of X-Men, if I were to point it, but I enjoy the storytelling. So overall, of all of these Harbinger titles, an 8.5 out of 10. Moving towards the middle, to which we've got the rest of the Young Justice titles connected to the comics. I really enjoyed what Peter David gave us, the reader, here. And if you want to read some good Young Justice outside of Brian Michael Bendis' Young Justice, this is the stuff to pick up. Yes, it gets a little bit cheesy at times, but it's all in good fun. To which I'm going to give the series an 8.5 out of 10. Moving into one of my favourite writers at DC Comics, Peter J. Tomasi, Guardian of Gotham. Incredible story. 9.5 out of 10. Love the art, love the story, love the characters that were met up in the story. It was really fantastic. Another one we've got up here is Batman Battle for the Cow. Now, this is something that I've heard Nightwolf plays doesn't enjoy that much, and he makes a small criticism in regards to, say, Damian being harsh towards Tim Drake. It's not actually Tim Drake that he's actually harsh against. It seems to be, I think it's Huntress. But a female character to which Nightwing sort of leaves in charge to be a bit of a guardian over. Because this is happening in a time period where Batman's gone missing, believed dead. And another thing that also happens within the story is Damien gets bloody shot. So I could understand Damien's reaction. I guess you wouldn't like to be shot at almost point blank range in a story. And I could understand Damien's reaction towards the person who he was also being, to which there was a guardian of over him. Moving into some more Valiant titles. Ninjak, this time by Christos Gage. I must admit, I really enjoyed what Christos Gage did here. Oh, I forgot my rating for Battle for the Cow, so I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. So now back to Ninjak, or Ninja K, by Christos Gage. It was very interesting of what Christos Gage did in this, to which he got to explore, say, other ninja characters that are sort of like connected to the same program to which Ninjak is a part of. And I liked the introduction, but you could also sense that is there going to be some form of betrayal in this story, and in a way there is, to which I'll give the story an 8 out of 10. Moving into some Marvel, we've got some Absolute Carnage. Really enjoyed this, and also seeing the character of Dylan, to which I give this story a rating of 7.5 out of 10. I'd like to see more of that character, even read more around the character. So if anyone knows what trades I need to pick up, please tell me in the comments. Spider-Man Noir. Now, this was very interesting. It's set in its own timeline, more so set in around the 1920s, the 1930s, and it's almost set in like a what-if type situation. Like, what if Spider-Man was set in the 1920s, 1930s? How would he dress? What would he act like? And what would he be carrying? It's no different than how DC did Gotham by Gaslight with Batman. And it's very similar to that, to which I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Moving into an indie comic, Money Shot. Crazy idea, this story. It's what if a group of scientists decided to become, well, escorts for aliens that are invading their planet? My goodness, it is crazy. And yes, they play on every LGBTI premise within the story. Crazy for an independent story. So 7 out of 10. Riri Williams and Miles Morales, back to some more Marvel, to which I give the Riri Williams. I enjoyed some of the stuff that happened in this, but yes, there are some things to which the character does need to grow some more in. So 5.5 out of 10 for that. Miles Morales by Saladin Ahmed. I must admit, Ahmed does a 10 times better job than what Brian Michael Bendis does with Miles Morales. But does it in any way affect the score? Overall score, probably about an 8 out of 10. Even though I did read to about issue 21, but I didn't decide to collect any of the further trades other than the first one. Moving into some Street Fighter related stuff, more indie. Really enjoyed this story, and you see a crossover between the Street Fighter world and the Darkstalkers world. And yeah, there's a little bit of a fight, there's some villains, but there's also looking how certain characters would react to other characters, and how they would also all go up against a big bad situation. 8.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed this. Another run that I also enjoy by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky, Sex Criminals. A very funny series. It depends, you might like it, you might not. But for myself, I personally enjoyed it. Best for mature eyes only. But for myself, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 in regards to these volumes. Moving into something else. Legion of Superheroes. Now, if you don't want to read some Brian Michael Bendis Legion of Superheroes, I advise you come and pick this up. This is 10 times better than what Bendis is putting out there. And I hope there's a volume 2 available in the trade, because I wouldn't mind picking it up. I like many of the stories in this, but it also shows you quite a bit of a lore as to how very intrusive the Legion of Superheroes can actually be in sort of like the present DC world. Even though, yes, this is set in the Silver Age, they're almost like curious kids that are too curious for their own good. And need a bit of a spanking from time to time. But overall, it was fun. 9 out of 10. Last but not least, finishing off with some Matt Kindt. Another writer I personally enjoy. Reading Mind Management, Volume 1 and Volume 2 of 3 of the omnibuses. This is really interesting. If you like spy storytelling, espionage, well, this covers it. Like, this really covers it. But it's also got a bit of mind fuckery in there too with some of the things. And you got to pay attention as to what's happening in the story. Because if you don't pay attention what's happening in the story, you might get a little bit lost. Where the first one sort of centers on sort of like two key characters. The second one builds up on sort of like further characters that are connected to the original two characters. And I like the world building that's done there. Another thing that I also like is sort of like a small side story that happens within both of these volumes, and it's called The Second Floor. So pay attention to what happens in that, because it can lead into a bit of a theme into each of the stories that you read through. For these, 9 out of 10. Well, I really hope you enjoyed what I've recently been reading through with my graphic novel haul. If you've got any suggestions of things that I might personally enjoy, add them in the comment. I'd love to hear some of your ideas. Until then, please don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let's keep it colourful. If you've now made it to the end of the video, have yourself an awesome day.